The broadcast is now starting. All attendees are in listen-only mode.
Hello, everyone. This is Rachel McNeil. We just want to thank you all for tuning in to listen. We really appreciate you being on time. We're just going to wait a couple more minutes as people sign on. So please wait with us. And again, thank you again for joining. Again, for anyone new that signed on, this is Rachel speaking, and we're just waiting about 2 more minutes as more people join on, just to give them some time.
Okay, so we're gonna get started. Thank you guys for coming out. I mean, not coming out, but thank you guys. You could have had your attention anywhere else in the world today, but you decided to, tune in tonight. So we really appreciate that. My name is Israel Robinson. I'm a junior social work major from Anderson, South Carolina. On behalf of the NAACP Youth and College Division and Remember the 400, I would love to welcome you guys to our discussion entitled From Enslavement to Empowerment, remembering the 400 years of the first slave arriving in Hampton, Virginia, 400 years ago. Now for our two brilliant panelists.
So hi, my name is Rachel McNeil. I go to Emory University and I'm the Atlanta chapter representative of Remember the 400.
And my name is Taya. I am the Toronto representative for the Remember the 400 project, and I'm a recent graduate of the University of British Columbia. So just to give everyone a brief overview of what the webinar is going to look like tonight, we're going to start with 30 minutes of panel discussion between myself, Israel, and Rachel. And so during this time, we're going to introduce both of our organizations. We're also going to tell you about our mission, our goals, and share our opinions, on a lot of important topics to all of us that have tuned in today. And then we're going to be having 30 minutes of a live question and answer session, a discussion between the three hosts, as well as everyone that's tuned in today, where you can share any questions or opinions that you have. And I'd love to take this time just to remind everyone that this is a safe space. You can share all of your opinions. We're going to do so with respect and really an open mind, just to hear where everyone's coming from. And even though the question period will be at the end, I just wanted to let you know ahead of time how you can ask us questions. So if you want to type your question in, you will click on the questions bar that you should see. You type it in, and once we see it, we'll read it out and provide any answers and even open it up to the floor. And then we will also have live questions. So you can click on the hand icon. You would just raise your hand that way. We would say your name, unmute you from our end, and then you can ask your question to the panel as well as open it to everyone else that's listening. So we're going to go ahead and start with our, like I said, our discussion between the three co-hosts, and we hope that you really enjoyed this seminar that we're doing today.
All right, so moving on, we're going to start with what is Remember the 400? So just to give a quick background, Remember the 400, just the history behind it. So Remember the 400 is commemorating the time when the first Africans arrived to Hampton, Virginia in August of 1619. So this year, 2019, actually marks the 400th year since that happened. And since the landing of these Africans in the Americas, these slaves and their descendants have made innumerable contributions to the very fabric of humanity. And just kind of thinking about some of the contributions that we as Black people have made, one thing that always comes to mind for me is medicine. Going to a medical university, I feel like I'm exposed to a lot. And actually recently this year, I learned about a man named James Marion Sims. I'm not sure if you've heard of him. There's a picture on the slide of him. And he's kind of dubbed the name as the father of gynecology. But what is interesting about him is a lot of the advancements that he was able to make with gynecology and that we use today were at the expense of Black bodies, specifically Black slave women bodies. And recently in the news, a lot of protest has come out about this because a lot of the women that he worked on died back then because of eugenics and this idea that we weren't humans, but we were a little bit above animals. They didn't think that we could feel pain. So a lot of those women that he used didn't even have anesthesia. And yet he was been able to make so many advancements that we make, especially for women that go into labor. A lot of his surgeries deal with that. And so that's just one contribution that I think of. Continuing on, a lot of news has broken out about the funding of institutions, various institutions. So like Georgetown University recently came out with a statement, I don't know if you guys have heard, just kind of apologetic of the fact that their institution is funded off of slavery. This is something that is actually worldwide. A lot of banks, colleges, and different corporations are able to be so successful and thrive because they are funded from our labor as slaves back in history. And so this kind of question that has arisen of, do we deserve reparations? And then lastly, I have a picture. I'm not sure if any of you will recognize him, but Virgil, he is the CEO of a really famous designer label called Off-White, and he was recently promoted to the artistic director of Louis Vuitton. And just this idea that, again, we as a community, I think the struggle has really allowed marginalized communities to become creative. And with that, we've been able to set trends in pop culture. You know, a lot of entertainment, music, sports, Black people are in there and we do dominate. And so I think it's very important that we do recognize this history of our people because, again, our society would not be where it is if it wasn't for us.
I completely agree with everything that Rachel said. And what I love about what she said is that we all have these certain events, these certain pieces of history that really stand out the most to us individually when we think of Black History Month, when we think of Black history, and even thinking about the fact that we've been in America for 400 years and all the highs and lows that we've experienced as a people since then. And moved by these factors and a lot of others that I'm sure we can all think of, the creator of Remember the 400, Shadrach Porter, really wanted to create an event where he could celebrate the 400th year since this big historic event took place. It's such a big deal that now in 2019 we're able to recognize this, recognize how far we've come as a people and also how far we still have to go in the next 400 years and even forward from then. But as Rachel said, we really want to commemorate the things that these descendants of slaves have done in America and in the world, and also to heal the cultural divide between so many people in America and even the world. And so hopefully from recognizing this point in our history, we can go forward to heal, we can go forward to make even greater and better changes than we already have.
Absolutely. And then moving on to talk about just kind of the mission statement of Remember the 400. So again, like we said earlier, our mission is to tell a true story of these Africans who landed on the shores 400 years ago, as well as to really support any initiatives or organizations that are looking to kind of right the wrongs of the dark past of slavery, as well as come together to kind of heal the current racial divide that exists in our countries. And just going off of that, I think it's very important, again, that we tell the true story behind this. You know, just a quick personal story. Just growing up as a kid, I feel like learning about the Holocaust, there's always this emphasis of that we must know our history in order to make sure that the mistakes of the past aren't repeated. And so our mission statement is to really get that out here because, again, by looking at the past and analyzing the things that kind of did work and didn't work, we'll be able to move forward and come up with a solution that works for all because it is very important. And just one quick tip, this movement is so important that it's even been recognized by the government. Here in America, there was a bill created, the HR 1242 bill, which was basically this formulation of an African-American commission that is supporting organizations and the commemoration of these 400 years. So it's not something that, you know, we're just kind of thinking of as significant. It has been recognized at a national level, and it's something that is really important, and we look forward to sharing more with you guys about.
And Rachel, I like the point you made that it really is about telling the truth because I feel like, you know, growing up, like you said, we've all heard different stories and there's so many different perspectives and opinions on things that have happened to our ancestors in America. And it's sometimes hard to find the truth in all of that. And even I think now in 2019, I'm learning so much about things that have happened hundreds of years ago to our ancestors. And so I'm really hoping that with this generation and with movements and organizations like the NAACP and Remember the 400, we can really understand the truth of where we came from, like you said, so that we can better understand where we're going.
So true.
Definitely. So I am Peter Robinson, the representative of the NAACP chapter in the NAACP. A little bit about the NAACP. It's now the 110-year anniversary of the NAACP in 1909, and it is America's oldest and largest civil rights grassroots organization. It was formed in New York City by white and black activists, partially in response to ongoing violence against African Americans around the country. In NAACP's early decades, its anti-lynching campaign was central to its agenda. You know, so during the civil rights era, in the 1950s and 60s, the group won major legal victories, and the NAACP has now more than 2,200 branches and some 500,000 members worldwide. So just being able to be a president and a representative of the NAACP in South Carolina has just been an honor. So for this opportunity to be able to collab with an organization like the Remember the 400 and for the Youth and College Division of NAACP and remember the 400th partner is it's a historic mark. So continuing about the NAACP, for 110 years we have always fought to continue and raise questions about civil issues in the United States, or civil problems in the United States. At the end of the day, it is our duty as youth and as young people to continue this mission and continue 110 more years of racial and to continue the just the fight and the war towards making this country better. So on that note, the mission of the NAACP is to ensure the political and to secure the political, educational, social, and economic equality of rights in order to eliminate race-based discrimination and to ensure the health and well-being of all persons. Also, the vision of the NAACP is to ensure a society in which all individuals have equal rights without race-based discrimination and, So, I'm sorry, going forward, here's a picture of all the regions of NAACP. I am currently a member of Region 5, that is, North Carolina, Florida, Georgia, Alabama, and Tennessee. At this time, our country is very, 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 we're kind of in a crisis right now. And, I feel like it takes us to push the narrative forward. It takes us to, it's going to take us in 2019 to be more engaged than ever. Because at the end of the day, we all know that racism isn't dead. And at this point in time, talking to Taya and Rachel, it's really our duty to carry on the legacy of our ancestors. And, and in saying that, I mean, at the end of the day, I wish Martin Luther King had the opportunity to, have an iPhone. Imagine if Martin Luther King, Rosa Parks, Thurgood Marshall had the opportunity to have an iPhone. At the end of the day, we have to take advantage of all of our, our opportunities and all of our, current resources towards change. And we can use all those things towards change. So since I've been in the NAACP, these are some of the things that I have gained since being not only a president, but being a member. A heightened sense of engagement politically, socially, and educationally. Before I always used to kind of depend on my parents, like their opinion about politics. I never really engaged in my own opinion. Like since being in an association, I've been able to, form my own opinion, research, deeper in, what's going on in this country, and the, association, through, their emails and like always, sending out to the chapters what's going on. I've been able to, engage further about, democratic processes and, going deeper into, the things that affect us as all as citizens. Educationally, it just made me, dig deeper before, personal opinion. Growing up in, this school system in America, I didn't feel like I was properly educated about, my people or about my, my culture. And since being in an association, I've got a refined sense of who I am as not only as a person, but as, as a young man. I feel like, America is afraid of, the black and the black male and female that, aren't afraid to die for, pushing the narrative forward, that aren't afraid to die for, for, pushing our people, not only our people, but pushing, civil rights forward. And that's really intimidating in our country for some reason. But at the end of the day, we have to assume that responsibility to keep that, sense of engagement. Also, since being a part of the association, my leadership skills, have been cultivated to a whole nother levels. That I feel like the association pushes you to, like all your leadership skills that you already have. Through conferences, through leadership summits, it automatically, heightens your sense of heightens your sense of just your sense yourself of being a leader, you know, at the end of the day. So here's some more, here's some links below to, you know, get engaged in NAACP. The first link is naacp.org/signup. After you sign up with this link, you know, NAACP sends you emails, constantly sends you emails about, you know, current things they're engaged on. Also, you know, just talks more about, you know, how ways you can be engaged as a youth or as, you know, either an adult. It doesn't matter. At the end of the day, you know, NAACP keeps you updated through that link. Also, membership in NAACP. Membership is power, and you know, membership gives leverage in, you know, the African American community. This has been like I said previously, this has been an organization that for 110 years that has dedicated, you know, its whole fight to civil rights. So, you know, in giving to the NAACP is giving, you know, is giving power to pushing the narrative of this country forward. And here below, there's some more dates about the next slide. Yeah, so 110th anniversary National Convention, July 20th through 24th, 2019 in Detroit, Michigan. You know, just in this opportunity, it gives youth the opportunity to, you know, engage in education, legal education. Talks about LGBTQ community and ways to, you know, better that fight. You know, just through panels, discussions like this, it gives youth the opportunity to get better and, you know, gets us more engaged and rally toward being better, better equipped leaders in this generation. Now, like I said before, I'm a part of Region 5. So our Civil Rights Advocacy Training Institute is in Columbia, South Carolina, March 28th to 31st. And here are some other dates for other regions who are also a part of the NAACP. And then the next slide. So Centoya Brown, before we, the Tennessee Youth and College Division engaged in this opportunity to free Centoya Brown. She was, you know, not falsely accused, but she was, at the end of the day, she was wrongly accused of rape, not rape, but damn, what was it? She was falsely accused of being yeah, there was a rapist. Like she was raped, and at the end of the day, she ended up killing her rapist. So now, you know, Tennessee Youth and College Division, led by David Johnson, she was able to be freed through, you know, not only email scripts, but she was able to, you know, be freed and be granted clemency from that. And she was also human trafficked, and she was killed. She was almost killed by her abuser. So this is through this, we were able to, through the Youth and College Division, we were able to help her get granted clemency by the governor, and that was just one way that we were able to, you know, engage through social media, change. So not only with, you know, with NAACP and Remember the 400, this is something that, you know, I feel like this is our sit-in, this is our revolution, you know, through, you know, through joining the NAACP, through engaging with Remember the 400. I feel like this is our opportunity to be, you know, be leaders, you know, this opportunity to engage in, you know, the things our ancestors did. At the end of the day, they already, you know, fought for, you know, they endured the physical battle. They endured the, you know, shakes getting thrown on them, the physical being lynched, just for the opportunity for us to sit on the iPhone and, you know, to take $5 our day towards revolution. At the end of the day, it's our opportunity now in 2019 to fight against, you know, any form of racism. And I feel like now we have all the resources to do that. We have all the resources to, you know, to really get that change that we need. So, like, being a part of the NAACP has really been liberating. It's really just gave me a heightened sense of awareness in who I am as a person, who I am as an African American male. So this opportunity to work with Rachel and Taya has an amazing opportunity. And I just ask anybody who is a part of NAACP to really engage in Remember the 400 and really engage in, you know, doing research in their chapter for the 400 years of oppression, not only of slavery, but Jim Crow, the war on drugs, all things that this country and the world has put against African Americans, but we've always overcame.
And I love the example of Cyntoia Brown because that really shows the power that we have at our fingertips. It shows the power that we have on Instagram and Twitter and social media. I feel like her getting that much attention from the youth and from even like celebrity figures really helped make a step towards getting her that clemency. And so that's such a good example of the things that we can do, because it took a lot of people sending emails and calling the governor and things like that to really make that difference. It took a lot of individuals coming together as a group. And I think such beautiful things can happen when we really work together towards a common goal. And that was the perfect example of that.
I completely agree. And just again, going off of, why it matters, I feel like if there's anything that you are currently unhappy with in your life that results from, white supremacy, being marginalized as a person, this is your time and your moment to really do something. And I think it's so important to realize that not everyone has to be in a quote unquote leadership role. I feel that a lot of times actually, people are a little hesitant to, start the initiative or jump off. But it's really funny because recently I was having just a recent discussion with one of my professors, and she was just kind of saying, it doesn't matter how you're helping as long as you're helping, whether that's driving people to protest, spreading the word, and even now with the risk of, they even had it back then, of being jailed or like going to prison, like finding other ways outside of protesting to create a change, whether that's getting into the system, becoming a cop so that you have a better understanding of how things function and don't have to implement racism when we see police brutality, sitting in on Congress, whatever it is, your dreams, just making sure that you are a part of the system and a part of the institution to implement change is also another way to go about it. And even sitting here today, listening to us, getting inspired is a start towards, this revolution. And so again, I really commend you guys from coming out here and sitting and listening, because this is a beginning step in a way that we can really progress and see change.
Definitely, this is a great first step. And if we're going to go further from there and continue to make these changes together, a great event that everyone should come out to from the Remember the 400 would be coming to Virginia, the very place where our ancestors were first brought to America as slaves, on the weekend of August 23rd and August 24th. It's a 2-day weekend. We're going to be having The Journey, which we're going to talk more about in just a second, as well as a youth-led concert called I Am More. And that would be on the Friday and the Saturday, respectively. And so, as we've already said, coming together and working towards a common goal, working to do something like this, to recognize what our forefathers have gone through, I think it could be a beautiful thing. And we could all come together with a similar goal, with a similar mindset, and really think about the things that we can do in the future to make more changes and even work the things that our forefathers did before us.
And just jumping off of Taya, to go into detail, The Journey is an off-Broadway play, theatrical musical, that really kind of explains the history that our people had before slavery, which I don't think is talked about enough, just especially in schooling and day-to-day, and just really gives that beautiful and very intriguing story of, the diaspora, and kind of brings to question, what does it mean to be Black? Where did we come from, our origins? In a really fun, engaging way. And so that will occur at the American Theater on the Friday, August 23rd, the first day of that weekend at 5 p.m. On the slide here, you can get your tickets by calling Ticketmaster at that number, or you can just go to our website to find out more information. But I think it's a really cool and innovative way to kind of get the word out. I feel like you don't really see a lot of plays that really touch on this subject. It's family friendly, so I just really recommend that everyone go out to see it. They've had sold out shows in Harlem, St. Louis, had amazing reviews. So this is definitely the place to be at.
And then for that second day of the 2-day weekend, like I said, we'll be having the I Am More Youth Expo. And so that's a concert put on by our youth that are involved with Remember the 400. And so we're going to be having entertainment, things like spoken words, speeches, and songs from people that are involved in our organization. And like I said, again, that really have a common goal, a common mindset, and really to celebrate how far we've come in the last 400 years. And like I said already, to plan for our future. So this is bound to be a great performance. If anybody wants to be a vendor or a performer at that event, we are more than willing to have other people come on board with us. You can register your organization with us at rememberthe400.com, and we can collaborate and work to something that's so important for all of our futures.
On that note, like, at the end of the day, this is in a collective effort. At the end of the day, at the end, call your mom, call your dad, let your friends know about this, because 100 years ago, we weren't able to celebrate the 300-year anniversary of this. Being able to celebrate a 400-year anniversary is an amazing honor. Not only an honor, but an opportunity that we have to seize as a people. This is an important time in our history that we have to make sure we jump on collectively. When it comes to pushing the narrative forward, we have to be unified, and in being unified, we can conquer anything. And we're not trying to, pass aspersions on anybody else. We're just trying to love us. We're trying to take this time, this 400-year anniversary, to let this be a demonstration of love amongst African Americans and amongst, the history of African Americans. So definitely.
And then, like we said before, why it matters, how to get involved. So the first thing we have is hashtag Remember the 400 challenge. If you can do Drake's In My Feelings challenge, you can definitely do the Remember the 400 challenge. And so with that, it's a challenge that actually has already started an uptake on Instagram, but just really simple. The rules are to kind of, one, make a statement about something that the first African arrivals or their descendants, just an experience that they've overcome or challenges that they've faced, anything that you kind of want to be that's in that 400 years frame. And really the two rules are that you start your statement with I remember the 400, and then end your challenge by stating the hashtag Remember the 400. And you can post that on your Twitter, Instagram, Facebook account. But again, just a really quick, simple, easy, no more than 5 minutes way that you can support this movement and support this cause. And again, make others aware of this, because not a lot of people know that 2019 marks 400 years since they've landed. And I think that's something that's so important that needs to be shared. So make sure that you do that.
Unfortunately, I think we're having a bit of technical difficulties with the videos. We wanted to show everyone an example, but we definitely would recommend searching hashtag Remember the 400 on Instagram, or looking up our page, Remember the 400, to get an idea of what you can do in your own challenge. Or if you're a little nervous to do your own, you can even share the videos that we already have, like Rachel said, to get the word out and let everyone know how important this year is to us. And another way you can get involved would be to create your own Remember the 400 club or chapter. So you can feel free to contact us. We've had our website and our Instagram mentioned throughout this video. You can contact us to get a representative that would help you set up everything you need to get started with your own local chapter. And we would love if you guys want to have any corporations or officials, hold them accountable, for the people that they serve. Hold them accountable for making change and being active in healing the racial divide that's in our countries. And so if you want to do that, if you sound interested in that, please feel free to contact us. We'd be more than happy to help out.
And then another way that you can support us is, again, by getting the word out. You can donate by purchasing some of our merch, our merchandise, on www.rememberthe400.com. We have hats, computer sleeves, books, and my personal favorite, which are the Remember the 400 shirts. I think in the next slide we have some examples of people wearing them. But again, just getting the word out is so important so that this movement can really take rise. Israel mentioned earlier that there are strength in numbers, and that is so true. Just showing that we are unified on the stance that it is important is so meaningful. And so we would really appreciate any help that you could get in promoting that, any help that we could get in promoting that.
Yes. And so pretty much to summarize what we've been talking about, really what we hope everyone got out of this was really a call to action. There's so many different ways that you can get involved. There's so many different ways that you can spread the word. Like Israel said, the fact that we even have iPhones and social media, we have literally these things at our fingertips every day. And so if this is something that's important to you, as I think it is, because we're all sitting here tonight, I hope that you would visit our websites for the NAACP.org and rememberthe400.com. You can create a Remember the 400 challenge, create your own NAACP or Remember the 400 chapter, help to promote our cause by donating or starting events, and you can also attend one of our many events that we've mentioned in our slides today. So we're going to open up the floor to discussion questions. Just as a reminder, if you have a question you would like to say out loud, you can just raise your hand on the monitor and we will unmute you. And just to get us started, we actually did receive a question already, so I will read that and answer it. So thank you, Andrea. Rachel, she has a question about the bill that you mentioned and wants to know if there's any further details on the government recognizing this historic event, Remember the 400, if there's any details on the things that they're doing to help remember the 400.
Yeah, so I don't know what stage they are at right now. The bill that I was referring to was the HR 1242 bill. If you look that up online, you should be able to see. But essentially, from my understanding, they've created a commission to really help to get this thing kind of going. So just this bill really recognizes that the 400 years are important, and I believe it's made to kind of support any organizations or initiatives that are taking place in order to showcase the significance of that. But there's definitely resources online as well.
Perfect. Okay, so I see we're getting some questions, so I really appreciate everyone that's sending in their comments. I'm going to read out another one from Sophia. She would like to know if the NAACP will be a part of the event in Virginia, if they have any plans to join us. Israel, maybe you can speak on if you know anything about your chapter or even yourself and the plans we have in August in Virginia.
Yeah, so right now we're doing fundraising. We plan on doing fundraising towards being able to be a part of that event in August right now. So that's really the only thing right now we have toward the in August.
That's perfect. And as we mentioned, fundraising involved and aware is so important as well. And so, Remember the 400 and the NAACP, our missions are so aligned, I feel like. And so it's great that we're able to collaborate in this way, doing this webinar and collaborating even in the future to really help get both of our missions out there because, like I said, they're so close to each other.
Definitely.
Okay, so we have another question from Jeff, and he wants to know how you would donate to Remember the 400. And so I would definitely recommend going to our website, or you can contact us through our social media. We do have GoFundMes and other things like that set up. And so we are so appreciative of the interest to donate because it is a very important cause to all of us here today. So anyone that's interested, please feel free to visit our website and contact us through the information that's posted there. And we would provide you with any additional information that you need. So we'll wait for some more questions to come in. We also have some discussion questions that we thought of that might lead discussion between all of us and how we're feeling, especially today being the last day of Black History Month. And so although we know that, Black history is every day and we even are living right now our Black history, we would like to maybe know how your Black History Month was. So you could feel free to send us a message about that and anything you might have learned.
There's another thing I want to say. There's power in social media. So at the end of the day, hold your favorite celebrities accountable. At the end of the day, this is 400 years. It's a 400-year anniversary. So if on the post, if you want to at Charlamagne the God, at your favorite, whoever it be, call them out and let them know that at the end of the day, we all need to be a part of this. So it's something definitely that everyone needs to be.
Definitely. We have another question from Rebecca, and she wants to know if any NAACP chapters will be doing the Remember the 400 challenge. Israel, do you think that's something your chapter might take up?
Yeah, this is definitely something that SESU chapter would take up. We're planning on doing something in the future with Remember the 400. So yes, definitely. And I call, I definitely want to do a call to action with all NAACP chapters listening right now. Maybe, to have all your chapter members do a video about remembering the 400, because at the end of the day, this is bigger than, ourselves. This is something our ancestors. NAACP, this is definitely aligned with our mission, our vision to creating a better world for all people. So definitely all NAACP chapters listening, if this can be something, you can be a part of, or something, you can engage in, please do it. At the end of the day, I think it was Taya that said it. At the end of the day, you can make in my feelings challenge, you can do this challenge, so let's do it. At the end of the day, this is our, like we said earlier, this is our sit-in. This is our time to be a part of history in a big way. We can change everything with engagement, because we have the most innovative way of engagement. No other generation has had this before. So let's take advantage of it.
Definitely. And we have another question from Dexter. He wants to know, how would he go about creating or joining a chapter?
So I guess we can answer both the questions, because Jeffrey Blair also asked how to connect with the NAACP. Oh wait, NAACP, sorry. So creating or joining our chapter for Remember the 400. Like we said earlier, if you go to our website, rememberthe400.com, you'll be connected with a representative close to that area wherever you are, and they'll kind of help you get started as far as formulating that chapter. But I really recommend going to our website so you can find out more about that, as well as opportunities to partner with us. If you do have an organization like NAACP, you can partner with us like we have for this webinar event, actually, to kind of help promote the cause as well. So that's another way.
Definitely.
And then Israel, I guess you can answer the second one.
Yes, Jeffrey Blair wanted to know, how can you connect with the NAACP representative in St. Louis?
Okay. So Rachel, can you go back to the slide? It says, I'm sorry, hold on. It says www.naacp.org/find a local unit. So
okay. 1 second while I find that, and you can go ahead and answer.
Okay. So once you go to that slide and go to that website, okay, you can type in your local unit, and then at that website, you can find where the local NAACP unit in St. Louis is. There you go. If you just click on that link, you can find all the local, you can find the state, local branches of NAACP around you, and then you can get connected that way.
Perfect. And we have another question. This one's a long one, so I'll read it out. It says, I see the NAACP has a focus on social, political, and educational. And I was just wondering if there's any spiritual connection to the cause. Slavery in the Black experience is quite spiritual, and I wonder if that should be a factor if it's not already.
Great question.
Yeah.
So in the Constitution, the mission statement, it doesn't say anything about spiritual connections, but me personally, I have brought spiritual connections into my experience with the NAACP. Just for example, with Martin Luther King, he was a very spiritual man. That his father was actually the president of the NAACP Atlanta chapter. So there's always been. I kind of would say whatever you want to bring to it when it comes to positivity, definitely do it. For me, it helped spiritually. It helped my chapter grow. We incorporate, like we pray at the beginning of meetings. We just for me as a president, I like to, I like God to lead whatever I do. So I'm pretty sure other NAACP leaders throughout the history have been connected spiritually. Through whatever religions they believe in, they've allowed that to push civilization forward because they've used the positivity from the spiritual state to make the world a better place. So I hope that answered your question.
Yes, that was a great question and a really good answer too, Israel. We have a comment from Sophia. She wants us to know that we're very inspirational. And I think that's so good to hear because, like we said already today, that's really the cause of this webinar. And that's really the cause of our organizations, both individually and coming together. We want to inspire others to act. We want to inspire others to make change in their communities locally and even nationally. So I know this is a small part in a larger scheme, and I'm just so happy to be a part of it. And I know Israel and Rachel feel the same way, and we're so appreciative of everyone that's logged in and is listening to us now. So we'll continue to take your questions. We have one from Johnny, who wants to know how many youth members are part of the NAACP.
Ooh.
That's a good question.
Members? Ooh.
Israel, do you know how many members you have at your branch?
Yeah, so we just on the last count we got was 65. So at the beginning, this is actually the first year that our chapter has been active in 6 years. So we were able to bring innovation back to our campus, and it really energized the campus politically and socially. Before our campus was the most engaged politically and socially. But through NAACP bringing it to the campus and having having the people aligned with the mission of NAACP and having the heart and spirit, it was it created a chain effect for righteousness on our campus. It was really powerful. We were able to lead Voters Day marches on our campus. We were able to just unify people through NAACP, because it kind of, in my opinion, it kind of forces people to get on the same page for like an elevated state of righteousness on campus. So it allows people to feel welcome, because it's such a positive organization, and the organization has such a background of pushing this nation forward. That people automatically respect it. So I really encourage anybody listening that if they want to bring a chapter to the school, do it. Because it's something not only that looks good on your resume, but it's something that will bring change at a really fast pace. If you're doing it the right way, if you're leading it, with your heart. If your heart is in the right place, it definitely can cause a lot of great change. So definitely do that.
Yeah, and it's great to hear that you guys have so many members after just a year. That's really impressive. And so we have another question from Dora. She wants to know if we feel like students in the colleges and schools really care about the 400-year commemoration, and are they even aware of it? What's the vibe like when it comes to the 400 years?
I would say, sorry.
Go ahead, Rachel.
No, I think this is actually pretty relevant for me, because I think even just with the webinar promo, actually the NAACP section here at Emory reached out to me because the vice president had learned about the 400 years in a conference, wasn't sure of it, but was really inspired to bring it to the campus. And so to answer that question, I don't believe, unfortunately, that a lot of people are aware. However, I think there's definitely an interest in the Black community to provide a celebration or even events to recognize the significance. I know just even at Emory in general, there is a strong kind of pride and strong community within the Black community. And so just creating that conversation, I think a lot of students are interested in it. It's just about bringing that awareness to it.
Mm-hmm. I agree with you, Rachel. I feel like it's slowly growing, the interest and even the awareness of Remember the 400, and the fact that it's been 400 years since we've been in America. And even on a kind of like a broader scale, there's been a lot of, I think, celebrity talk around it. And I'm hoping and thinking that will get more and more people interested. For example, Jesse Williams, I think his name is.
Yeah.
He's been talking a lot about 400 years and returning to Ghana and his connection with this whole 400-year commemoration. So, of course, everyone has their own opinions of it, but it would be really great if we could all just come together. And another example would be Spike Lee. If everyone saw the award shows recently, he had a hat or a sweater on that said 1619, and he's talking about it lately. So I'm hoping that if you add the celebrity attention and you add the NAACP and the Remember the 400 attention, that it will slowly but surely get more and more interest and help to let everyone be very aware about this big event. And we have another question from Lorna. She'd like to know if there's an opportunity to have a Canadian NAACP chapter in Canada. That's a really good question.
That's a great question. So what's beautiful about the NAACP is not only 2,200 chapters, not only in the United States, but it's worldwide. So, through going to the link and earlier presented in the slide, go to NAACP.org and do more research on NAACP, and it shows you in the website, it shows you how to start a chapter, not in your local community as well. So I know there's chapters in Africa. I know there's chapters all around the world. So if there's chapters there, I'm definitely positive that there could be a Canadian chapter of NAACP.
I think I speak for myself and Lorna in saying that would be really cool to have a Canadian chapter.
Definitely. Ooh.
Lorna says, oh, yes. So maybe we should look into that. Myself and the other Toronto representatives remember the 400. So we have another question from Jeff. He would like to know if we could repeat the dates for the events in Virginia. And of course we can. And I'll actually return to the slides if that would be helpful as well. But the dates of the events will be in August of 2019. So on the Friday, the 23rd, we'll be having the Journey presentation. And then we'll be having on the 24th, the I Am More Youth Expo. So I'm going to return to that slide. If you could just bear with me for one moment, Jeff. There we go. So like I said, the 23rd, we have the Journey, and on the 24th, we have the youth-led concert, which is I Am More.
I think we missed one question, though.
Did we? Let's see.
The March.
We'll end up doing a march in August at Virginia to commemorate the 400. As of now, I don't know any NAACP march that will be going on there. I believe that, I think we'll be all there in solidarity to commemorate the 400 years of African American history. So I'm not sure we'll be doing a march necessarily, but I'm pretty sure that we'll all be together for remembering that 400-year, anniversary.
We definitely appreciate that question, though, and maybe that could spark the idea to have a march in August. And that's the great thing about this webinar, and I'm so happy that everyone's sharing their questions, because it gets everyone thinking, and that's really such an important part of what we're doing tonight. Rebecca would like to know where she could purchase tickets for the Journey. So I will try and find the slide again for her, but it can be purchased on Ticketmaster, and they also have a number that you can call regarding that, or you could just visit us at Remember the 400 on our website, and we would have more information about how you can do that as well. And just Rebecca, so you can see that, I'll go to that slide now. And so there's the number. The Ticketmaster number is 800-745-3000. I believe that's toll free. So you can contact them that way, or like I said, our website is rememberthe400.com, and then we'd be more than happy to help you on our end as well. If you have any other questions, please feel free to send them. And so while you guys are thinking of any other questions, if you have them, we did also have our own discussion questions, like I mentioned, and maybe even you could think about this after this webinar. Like I said, we really want to have a call to action. We really want to get people thinking and talking about this, not only the important event, but also the state of our people in Canada and America, wherever we are. And so this is great questions for everyone to be thinking about. Even as February comes to a close, as Black History Month comes to a close, you can think about these and other related questions. And if you wanted to, you could also follow up with us if you're inspired to do any of the other things that we mentioned in terms of getting involved. Okay, we have a question from Johnny. Any bus trips being organized to take people to Virginia? I believe there are, and once again, I would just recommend going to the rememberthe400.com website. We are so happy to have people interested in coming out to Virginia with us. Like I said, great things can happen when we're together. So please feel free to contact us. We would definitely love to have everyone come out to Virginia. And we have people in Toronto that will be going, people in our other branches such as Atlanta for Rachel's representing. And so contact us. Like Rachel said, we'll get our closest representative to speak with you about the event in August and anything from now to then.
Thank you, Andrea. It's just an amazing opportunity to be a part of this. We saw your question. I mean, not your question, your statement. really appreciate it. We really, really do.
Yeah, she said we're doing a great job. Thank you. And we have another one. Lorna says, I know we're coming to an end soon, so I have to say that I absolutely salute the three of you young Black professional individuals. I would love for you to have regular webinars about all types of issues and celebrations regarding the Black experience. I believe that you will make an amazing impact on other Black youth and can turn this into something huge. That is so nice to hear.
Appreciate it. Oh my God.
We were all very excited preparing for this, and we did a lot of talking in the days and weeks coming up to this. Really, like we said, just to get the message out and to share our passion with everyone that's listening. So and we're happy that you appreciate us, but we also appreciate you guys. And I think it's so great that you're all here today.
I think there's another question by Cameron Reed. It says, what happens after August 23rd? Well, after August 23rd, after our youth festival, I think that's a really great question. You know, what kind of happens after we, highlight the significance of the 400? And I think it just goes back to our mission statement. It's kind of analyzing what happened in the past to see how we can move forward and create these healings between racial divides. And so we really like to keep that question kind of open. We're really open to having individuals like yourselves and so many other come to our events, come to our discussions. We plan to continue on creating events, spreading the word, but also opening up this dialogue of how we all feel it's best to heal this nation, and possible talks of reparations, just different things in the working. But again, we really do plan to continue this dialogue even after this celebration to again move towards progress, as we stated before.
Definitely, that's a really good answer for that. And hopefully, like I said, this will just get everyone thinking about the ways that they can make changes, the ways that they can get involved, the way that they can make action, and that's really important. So thank you for that question, Cameron. That's really great.
Oh, and one more question.
I think so.
They're coming. Okay, Natasha asks, is it an option to reach out to other groups in the Black community, such as the Nation of Islam, to participate?
Well, yeah, sir. So any type of groups that are positive that want to be a part of this movement of recognizing the 400 years, I definitely would reach out to them. I wouldn't necessarily say any group. I would say really any group that is dedicated to celebrate this history. Just keeping it there, like celebrating the history of us as a people and understanding that our history matters. I definitely would say just reach out to anybody, whether it be Black, white, blue, you know what I'm saying? It doesn't matter. It matters that this history will be acknowledged in a time where we can acknowledge it, in 2019, in a year where this is a 400 year. This is a historic year. So to answer your question, whoever it be that will have a positive impact, or whoever will bring positivity towards this movement, ask.
Yeah, definitely. As Israel said, in the mission of the Remember the 400, we talk about healing divides between people. And I know in the mission of the NAACP, it mentions bringing about these changes for all people. And so, of course, people are going to have different opinions, different perspectives. But like Israel said, we really will be coming together for a common goal to remember this monumental event that took place in all of our history. And so I think it would be great to have the backing of many groups and many people becoming more and more aware about this project. Rebecca says that she's inspired and would like to know the social media handles for Remember the 400. So hopefully that means Rebecca will be doing a Remember the 400 challenge. Here are the handles. We have at NAACP_YC, and we have at Remember the 400. Can be found on Facebook, on Instagram, and on Twitter. So you guys can follow us. You can reshare, repost, retweet any of our posts, and you can connect with us there as well. We'd love to hear from you. So we are winding down to the end of our webinar. So if you have any other questions you'd like to add, please feel free to do so now. as we would love to hear some final comments. Donna says it was a great presentation. Thank you, Donna.
Just to add to it, I want to inspire or at least challenge everyone to, like not be afraid of going out and looking for things like this, of looking for things like Youth and College Division and Remember the 400 of, and also NAACP. Like, this is the time to, engage in, the fight for freedom and the true fight for freedom. So I really don't want anyone to feel discouraged, because I know our society can make you discouraged and can make you not feel comfortable in loving who you are as a Black person. Love your Black skin, love your African skin, because there's so much history behind it. I've been, for example, many times I've been in a position where I've had to fight for our history. I've had to fight for truth in the classroom. Take pride in that fight, because it is your opportunity, and it is it's meant for you to do that. So don't get discouraged, because I've been there. We've all been there. So just keep pushing on. Because at the end of the day, you're going to be remembered on the right side of history, because you are pushing love into this world. You are pushing love into the society that might that the society is popular not to do that. So, keep being who you are, because at the end of the day, this world needs you.
Definitely, that's a really great point, Israel. Oh, gosh. I think I might have seen a hand go up and it went away. So if you had a question that you wanted to share out loud, please feel free to put your hand up again. We have some final closing comments just before we close up. Dana wants us to know it was a fantastic presentation and she's glad she tuned in. Dexter says it was great and he hopes that we will help keep everyone informed and updated right until our August event, and like Cameron said, even after that date. Sophia says a lot of youth don't want to talk about slavery because they can't relate. What are your thoughts? That's a good question.
That is a good question. I don't know. I feel like coming to college, I feel like the conversation has opened a lot more than I would expect. But just in general, I think a really good point is to put it in terms of your life now, thinking of kind of the progression that we have had and really allowing youth to kind of envision themselves during that time and thinking about all that has happened that has allowed them to be where they are today. I think like Israel was saying, like joining these organizations really helps you to understand your history and the significance of it, and being educated about that past can really help you to kind of think about slavery, feel open to talk about it, but look at it as a form of progression and to see how we can work to implement more changes institutionally.
And I think it was Israel who mentioned it earlier. The people before us, they had kind of a much more physical fight, you could say. And so it kind of makes sense that youth might not feel exactly connected to that. But it is different for us now, so that's 100% understandable. But it's not to say that racism doesn't exist, and it's not to say that there isn't so much further for us to go as a people. And so, like Rachel said, hopefully through education and through even being able to draw comparisons between then and now, reading and learning on our history and the truth of our history, not just the way it's taught in schools for 28 days, I think that could really go a long way in helping to see the connection that is there between the slavery that people went through, between the Jim Crow era and the suffering that they went through then, and how we are experiencing our lives now. I think there's a connection and a common thread through all of it. You just have to look for it further than what your education system would generally teach you. And so it's so great that the NAACP and Remember the 400 are available to really share this information, because I've learned so much even since working with Remember the 400, and would love if other people could have that same opportunity as well. All right, so we really appreciate everyone that has come out to listen to us today. We appreciate so much all of your questions, all of your comments, even your encouragement. I know myself, Israel, and Rachel were so happy and so excited to do this webinar. And so we really thank you for spending your hour with us. Like Israel said at the beginning, you could have been anywhere listening to anything, and you were listening to us for an hour. So we really thank you. Again, please follow us on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. You can also reach out to us at our websites, naacp.org, as well as rememberthe400.com. We would love to hear from you. We would love to see an increase in the Remember the 400 challenges. We would love to see an NAACP branch opening or a new club of the Remember the 400 opening. And so hopefully this has been a great call to action. Hopefully this has been informative for everyone, and we really appreciate your time.
Yes, thank you so much.
All right, everyone, have a great night. Please feel free to connect with us after this call anytime between now, August, or even later. We really appreciate it, and we hope everyone has a great night.
And definitely, if you want to follow me on Instagram, it's KEMIZ_. So once again, my Instagram name is EMETIZ_. So if you ever want, DM me anything about this movement, about just want to talk about starting the NAACP chapter, definitely hit my line. Just I just want more connections, and more positivity in this world. So anytime, just hit me up.
Definitely. I think all of our social media handles are available on the NAACP, as well as the Remember the 400 page with our flyers, so you can connect with any of us individually, as well as the broader organizations. We would love to hear from you guys. Thanks so much, and everyone have a great night. Okay, I think we're done.
Wow. Good job, y'all.
There we go. Okay. Woo!
Ooh,
That was good.
that was good. Y'all heard me say damn?
Yeah.
I'm sorry, y'all.
That's all right.
It happened.
Wow, that went really well.
I did. Oh my gosh. Like when I was reading the the questions and stuff